No one knew his name, not really. In the gray corridor of office life, he was just, "Hey man, a buddy," or worse, "What's his face?" The receptionist called him Daniel once. He nodded. Weeks later, someone else called him David. He nodded again. Let them guess, he thought. It was easier that way. He worked in a cubicle with beige walls that matched his personality. Or so they assumed. In truth, he had no personality, at least not the one he once knew. It had eroded slowly, like sandstone in a windstorm. Years of pretending, of molding himself into what was expected, had taken their toll. Now he simply existed. Each morning he wore the same uniform, gray slacks, button-down shirt, plain shoes with no logos. He didn't want to be noticed. He moved through the office like smoke, present but untouchable. The kind of man you pass in a hallway and forget before the next corner. But he hadn't always been this way. There was a time, long ago or maybe just in another life, when he was a person of color and fire. He painted the sky in streaks of oil. He played music in subway stations for strangers who smiled. He spoke his name with clarity. Luca. A name filled with warmth, a name people remembered. But remembering comes with a price. And Luca had once trusted the wrong person with his truth, a betrayal cut deep. It taught him that to be known was to be vulnerable, and to be vulnerable was to be destroyed. So he disappeared, not physically but piece by piece. He changed cities, changed habits, shaved his beard, deleted every social account. He took a job that didn't ask questions. He became no one. Some nights alone in his apartment, sparsely furnished, blinds always drawn. He'd open a sketchbook and draw by candlelight. Faces, familiar ones. His mother's, a dog he used to have, his own. But over time, even those lines faded. He stopped drawing. He lived like that for years, untouched, unbothered, unnamed. Until one day a new hire arrived at the office. Her name was Isla. She was kind, observant, too observant. "Do you ever get tired of hiding?" she asked one evening, when they were the last two left at their desks. He looked up, startled. "Hiding?" he echoed. She smiled gently. "No one knows your name. But I think that's on purpose." For a second, he felt the air shift. The walls he'd built around himself trembled. Isla didn't ask out of malice. She asked like someone who had hidden once, too. He didn't answer, but that night he opened his old sketchbook again. The pencil felt foreign in his hand. Yet when he touched it to paper, a name spilled out. He stared at it. A simple word, 5 letters, his name. The one thing he had buried for so long. The next morning he wore a different shirt, light blue. He walked into the office, past the receptionist, and when she smiled and said, "Morning, Daniel," he paused. "It's Luca," he said. It wasn't much, but it was a start.